the JFJ Conspiracy Podcast, where the shop talk is rock.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Frank.
And I'm Melanie.
Yes, and this is the JFJ Conspiracy Podcast, where the shop talk is rock. And as you can see, we're missing Jerry today, but we have a very special guest. Jim, why don't you introduce our special guest today?
We have Melanie Vammen with us here from the Pandoras, the Muffs, White Flag, Leaving Trains, the Coolies. Is that all of them? I probably missed somebody in there.
I wasn't in the band. I sing on some of the singles. Pandoras, Leaving Trains. I had a band called Pointy Kitty too. Those would be the ones.
All right.
I've been playing with Jenny Cotton recently for touring.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, let's talk about your musical background as far as growing up. What were your influences?
Well, I started going out when I was about 15. Coming out, I grew up in Orange County. I lived in LA first, and I moved down to Orange County, and I had a pretty cool mom, and she let me go out. She trusted me. And I got involved in the whole, 60s garage scene, the mod scene. I guess, being mod was, my first thing. I was, 15, and we would go to a club called Concert Factory and cruise around on scooters all around Orange and Newport and Balboa. And then that led into the more 60s garage type of thing. And I started coming up to a club in LA called the Lossa Club and Gino's. And there's a lot of dance clubs, and it had a lot of 60s soul, psychedelic, and garage music. And so that's kind of where it all started. And that's where I met Paula.
Well, were you already playing an instrument at that time?
Not really. I learned how to play piano a little bit when I was a little kid, and I played clarinet for 5 years also. But at the time, no, I wanted a guitar. I think when I was around 11, I asked for a guitar, and my mom surprised me with an acoustic guitar, and I was pissed off and told her to return it. In my mind, I wanted an electric guitar,
right,
and then
sure.
The guitar just wasn't good enough. It's so stupid. And I wish I would have kept it. So no, she returned it, and then nothing until then. And then like I said, I would see Paula around the club a lot, and she was considerably older than me, and she was really cool. She was into the whole 60s garage thing, which I was a part of, and she had started the Pandoras in 1983, and she would come up to me and ask me if I knew how to play an instrument, because I had that look. I had the big black hair, big 60s whole look, and I would always say, no, I don't. And then one of the times she asked, and my boyfriend at the time said, she does. She knows how to play piano. So that's what led me trying out.
All right. Now you started playing piano, and you're playing keyboards for Pandoras. You came in after the first album, right?
I came in right at the end of high school, and that it was the eve of the release of that first album, the Pink album, and that's when I joined, and I don't know the exact date, but soon after, about a week after, Paula, she was happy the album came out, but at that time she had a brand new band, and she wanted to put out something new right away. She wanted, even though that had just come out, she wanted everyone to see the new band. So about a week later, we went and we recorded our single, Hot Generation, Satisfy. So it was pretty crazy. It's here I am, this little kid. I've never recorded anything. And here I am in the middle of the night at this recording studio called Silvery Moon. and it was like near the Beverly Center and Tale of the Pup. And there we are in the middle of the night recording this single. It was pretty crazy.
I bet.
Pretty cool.
That's like a great story. That Hot Generation single was my introduction to the Pandoras.
Oh yeah? Did you hear it? Did you hear it from Rodney?
I did not hear it from Rodney. I saw it, and I saw. I think you guys were on Bomp or Vox, one of those labels, probably Vox, right? And so I was managing a record store at the time, and it was in the Vox catalog. And I just saw the cover, and I said, I got to take a chance on this, bought it, and instantly fell in love because it was just such a great single. It's a great song.
Yeah, no, it's you know, through all the years when we reformed doing it, it was so great being able to play both of those songs again. Those like both Hot Generation and You Don't Satisfy Rodney. Yeah. He was like our hugest supporter ever. He was just amazing. Still to this day, anything that I'm involved in and any of us are involved in, he supports us. He plays us. And that, like, Hot Generation and You Don't Satisfy, that was, like, his theme song, you know, practically, because he played us so much.
All right.
So many bands, LA bands, owed so much to him. You know, and such a great guy. Every time you run into him, he's just the most gracious individual. He'll just sit there and chat you up and talk, and like it's, you know, totally normal, like you're a long lost friend almost, you know, just always great.
So as a young kid coming into this band, and I know you said you looked up to Paula, actually. What about everybody?
It's wild, let me tell you. If you know me, I'm a little wild myself, but back then I was this kid, super young kid, and I was pretty naive and innocent. And I met this giant force that was just crazy, not like in a crazy way, just wild, that didn't care, that was just herself and sexual and loud, and she was rad and talented and funny, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where the other members of the band, when you're the new guy coming in, did they just accept you right away, or was there any hazing or feeling out period, you know, as the new one, especially as a youngster coming in?
No, because when I came into the band, the other two also came into the band, because basically two of the members had left the band, and then the other one, she fired her. And so three of us, me, Karen, and Julie, we were all new to the band. We all came in basically at the same time. So it was that, and that was another reason why it was so important to her to get out something with her new band.
Was this the time when there was theoretically two Pandoras running out there?
Yes. That was pretty ridiculous at the time, and you know, it was a war. It was a war of who came up with the name.
Right. Well, this stuff is.
It was Paula.
It's still going around today with the local 80s hair metal bands. You know, how many LA Guns we got running around, how many Rats, and you know, they fight over the name, and they want to be able to, you know, make a living and everything else. And you guys started the whole thing. So now, when does Kim come into the fold?
Okay, so Kim came into the picture. So we got our single, and then we did an East Coast tour. Our first tour, my first time really going anywhere. Here I am, a teenager hopping on an airplane. Greg Shaw bought us tickets to the East Coast, and we did like maybe two or 3 weeks to the East Coast tour, and it was pretty wild. I remember going to Rock in New York, and I remember getting dropped off in the Lower East Side, and I was so scared. I'm like, "You're leaving me here? I'm staying here?" And it was like, this was so different like where I lived in Orange County. But, like everything was burnt down and broken up and scary. But it was amazing. It was the coolest thing. We played all these shows. We played at Irving Plaza with the Fuzz Tones. I think we played with the Brood in Maine or something. But it was fun. It was like a really great introduction. And then we came back at, I think, around that same time that we did I Want My Caveman. And that was on, I think it's called Garage Shock or Garage. It was only on cassette. It has like a caveman 60s type of guy. And it had a bunch of like 60s garage bands on it. And so that song, that was another song Rodney started playing all the time. And then we got involved, trying to think. We were playing at the Palace and the Roxy and getting lots of write-ups and stuff. And then we hooked up with Nina Hagen. And
wow.
Yeah, no, she was pretty awesome. I think it was a show at the Beverly Wiltern, and I remember Red Cross playing. And at that time, it was getting a little weird with our bass player, and she was getting flaky. And we didn't know she was going to show up to this show. We had this giant show, and Steve was going to fill in. Steve Dahl was going to fill in for us, but it didn't happen. He showed up last minute, and we ended up playing the show. But soon after, she left the band. People, that's a misunderstanding too. I can make some corrections here for people.
Good.
But she actually left the band. Paula asked her what her intentions were, and because she had kind of like flaked out on coming to rehearsals and stuff like that. And I can remember we were rehearsing at my house, and it was me and Karen and Paula, and she didn't want to continue on. And she quit. And we got this other girl to fill in. And it was a little weird. She just kind of wasn't like our style. And she played those with us, and she was maybe in the band for a couple months. But at the time, I had been shopping in a store. It was 1985, the summer of 1985. And I was with Roy McDonald, who, obviously, the Muffs and Red Cross. And we were in a shop, and we ran into this guy named Dave. He was in a band called The Fad. And we knew Dave, and his girlfriend was Kim. Oh. And we'd seen Kim, but we didn't know Kim. Right. Kim was super tall. She's like so tall, and she had this like bob hairdo. And I can remember seeing her like around the club and stuff, and she was cool. She was all 60s, and she was kind of new to our scene. So Roy and I are like, checking her out and stuff. And so Dave, we talked to Dave, and I said, we're looking for a bass player. If you know anyone that plays bass. And he's like, okay, I'll think about it. And so Roy and I left, and Kim turned to Dave, and she's like, why don't you tell them that I play bass? And he's like, you don't play bass. And so we ended up going, and she did not play bass. And we ended up going down the street, and we see them in another store. I think it was called Razzmatazz. And there we come walking in again, and he said, oh, she plays bass. And so she gave me her number. I went back to my house, and I called up Paula. And we used to rehearse in the upstairs of my bedroom. I had this giant bedroom. And I called her up. I told her and Karen, I'm like, yeah, she's really cool, and I think that we should try her out. And Paula loved it. So I called her up, and I have someone made like that embroidery thing. I could grab it. And I called her house and talked to her mom. And her mom left a note and said, Melanie from Pandoras call her if they want to try you out. And so she did. And I feel like she came over like that day later or something. And so she came over to my house, and she came and tried out. It was like instant, like, this is cool. This is like, me and her were like totally alike. We were like instant friends. And we loved her. And so we said, you know what? We have to figure out what to do here, because we don't want this girl in the band, but we can't fire her. And we need to sort this out. So we want you. You just have to like hold on. So Kim's like, okay. And so that night, Kim and I went out. We went to Safari Sam's, which was a club in Huntington Beach that had cool shows. And then her friend Dave from the Fad, they all at the Fad lived in this house together, and her and I hung out all night. And it was just crazy. It was like, we laughed and laughed. And if you guys know me and Kim, we're pretty ridiculous. And it was the best time in the whole world. And we were best friends instantly. That was it. That was like our introduction to each other, and we knew we were going to be inseparable always. Right. So we played it. I think like one more show with this other girl. Kim came to the show. She was in the audience, and then the girl quit, and then Kim joined. So that was, I think, July. I think it was July of 1985.
Wow.
Yeah. That's where it all began.
Was it 86 when Stop Pretending came out?
Yeah.
I think it was 86.
When Kim joined, we were in the middle of signing our contracts and doing demos for that album. So Kim jumped right in, and we did all these demos. I have them on cassettes. I'm going to go through a bunch of cassettes.
Cool.
I've got lots of stuff on cassettes, lots of like bootleg shows and interviews and just pre-production stuff. I've got like Paula like in the studio, we're one-hit wonders, and that was the basic track for the song, like Stop Pretending or something. But like everything was pretty immediate, like with all of us. And I guess at the time I told Kim, because she always liked to tell me this, like I said, you know what? She's like, what? And she's like, you're going to be a star. We're going to be stars. I was like, oh my God, that's funny.
Oh, you had Hard Rock after that album. Now, were you on Hard Rock also?
Okay. Yeah, I was in the band like the whole time. So Stop Pretending came out. That was amazing. That's our favorite album. Right. And it did fairly well. We did a lot of touring for it. We were gone for like 3 months straight, crazy touring. Crazy stories, let me tell you. Totally crazy fun stories. And so then we sort of had like this, we got courted by Elektra. And
nice.
So we ended up leaving Rhino. We were supposed to do a second album with them. And we left them, and then we went with Elektra. And it turned out Paula started dating our A&R guy. And it wasn't the greatest circumstances there. I'm not going to go into all of that.
Right.
But Paula would start switching directions. That was her downfall. Instead of sticking to like the one thing that she did great, Paula was like the best like pop songwriter in garage. That was like her thing. She started that like before the Pandoras, she had the direct hits who became the Action Now and great amazing pop songs, and then all the 60s garage pop stuff that we did in Pandoras early on like that too, just amazing. And so then she started getting a little more during Elektra. It was still pop, but it was a little more Bryan Adams-ish, okay, which was so much my thing or Kim's thing. But, it was still pretty pop. Like looking back at it, all that whole album was it was really 80s produced. It was very dated. Right. Listening to the test pressings and stuff. Eventually it never came out. It was a big bunch of money wasted, hundreds of thousands of dollars wasted on the production of this, and people leaving the band, and all this weird stuff. So that album, and then we got fired. Not fired, but we got let go.
Let go, as they say, dropped.
Yeah. It dropped, yes, we got dropped. So they dropped our A&R guy. This is like after 2 years. I think we signed with Elektra in 86, 87, 88, 87. Maybe it just turned like New Year of 88. Mm-hmm. And they fired him, and they dropped both of his bands, which were us and Jetway. So we had an album, and it was in test press form. ready to go. We had an album title, we had a cover, we had everything, and it had never been released.
Wow.
Only bootleg demos from it have been released that Greg Shaw put out under a fake record label called, and the album's called Psychedelic Sluts.
Right. I've seen that going through some of Discogs and everything, and I'll see it pop up, and it's like, yeah, I can't afford that today.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and some people, I actually have it, but some people think that it's a legitimate album, and it's not. It's a bootleg that he did. So then after that, then we had like a change with our drummers, with Karen and Sherry. So then Karen wasn't in the band anymore, and then Sherry was in the band, and then that's kind of when then Paula started going once again. Now we'll say, I guess, rock AC/DC direction. It wasn't as like heavy metal as it got. Like in the end, it was pretty gnarly in the end.
Right.
But that's the one we did on Restless, and we had a little success with that with couple of the songs. Like one of the songs was played on Headbangers Ball, and Run Down Love Battery. That was the AC/DC-ish one. And then another one called Close Behind. It was in regular rotation on K-Rock, and it was a pop song. It's a pretty song. It's a really good song, actually.
So was there? You guys are kind of at that point. People say like, oh, they kind of went in a heavy metal direction or whatever. It was kind of a little more of maybe a metalish look. But was there any sort of pressure from the label to kind of go in that direction, or was this really Paula just doing her thing?
So as far as pressure from the label at Elektra, yeah, we got pressure. Oh yeah, they wanted to change a bunch of things at Elektra. Oh, here you have a clothes designer. Oh, here, take lessons. Here you need to do this. It was pretty crazy. It was bullshit, man. Right. And but as far as the musical direction, that was Paula. That was all her. Yeah. Unfortunately, it sucked. And so she started going so heavy metal, and she was wearing, I love her. I will always love her. But not a good decision on her part. Mm-hmm. And started wearing chaps and just ridiculous outfits, just so metal looking. And that was so not me and Kim. Me and Kim were still like these, like, we're just goofy and like, I wouldn't say we were like 60s garage anymore at all, but just fun, we're still wearing the same thing. Belly outfits are cool clothes and cool things. I wouldn't say we dressed metal at all. And we certainly were not into metal music, but Paula, for sure, that was her thing and her songs. And there's a live album. I can't listen to it. It's not my thing at all. But yeah, if you like it, that's cool. I'm not going to knock it. Right. But, that's when Kim and I started. That's during that period is when I was going to learn how to play guitar. Because I was just getting so bored playing keyboards. And I'm like, you know what? I want to play guitar. So I bought a guitar, I think in 1989, probably. And 89, 90. And then I just started learning. I would watch them when they were playing at rehearsal and stuff. And so Paula's like, well, why don't you play on a song? So I would play on Lick It Up. We did Kiss song, Look It Up, and I feel like also like the Runaways, Queens of Noise. I remember playing that. Also, there were a few that I would play on guitar, and of course, I loved that because I could hand over her guitar and play it, and then we had a second guitarist at the time, and that's kind of where I started doing that. And then in the meantime, Kim was already starting to write songs, and her and I. It was 1990. We were in Pandoras still. We started rehearsing Kim's songs, just like before Pandoras practices and stuff. We weren't the Muffs yet, but we just said, you know what? Let's let's start learning more songs. Let's do something we want to do, music that we love. And so that's kind of where we first started that.
Now, when you leave Pandoras, if you want to go off what the internet says, you were unceremoniously fired. Because,
I
yeah.
don't have a phone.
Okay. Well, I'd love to hear it from you because, like I say, we always get different versions, and rather hear it from the actual source.
Okay, so the actual source. What actually happened was because Paula always jumping on the next thing, that musical direction she thought was going to be big was always past the time, actually. She now felt that she didn't need keyboards anymore. In her new direction, she wanted 2 guitars, bass, and drums. And I'm trying to think, the songs were so bad. They were so bad. I'm going to say Dark November, which we ended up recording in our reformed Pandoras. We made it see the light for her. That was a great song. And that was played once or twice after I was not in the band, but I had started learning it when I still was. But so she felt that this was the way, the direction, and it happened on Kim's birthday. It was July 17th in 1990. And Kim told me that she was going to kick me out of the band. And I'm the longest person that's ever played with Paula musically. And so I went up to a rehearsal place. I knew what was going to happen. And she was there, Sherry was there, and Lisa, who was the second guitarist. And Kim stayed around because we were supposed to go to Europe. And so I went up, and I remember walking into the rehearsal space, and she came to the door. I come walking in, she's all quiet, it's all weird. And she's like, oh, moving her head around. I go, you know what? I know what you're going to say. I know it's going to happen. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. All right. It's all right.
Yeah.
And I said, you don't need to say it. And she didn't. And she cried. And then she said, you and I were best friends before you and Kimmy. And it's true. Her and I were best friends.
Right.
Like, she, taught me so much crazy stuff. And she, that was it. And like I said, the other 2 girls, they were there and stuff. And that was kind of like our parting of ways. It was, it was pretty sad. It was like breaking up with a boyfriend. It was this relationship. I had been in the band for 6 years.
Right.
I was a little kid. And here I learned all this stuff, and it was pretty sad. But at the same time, it was such a good thing because it was long overdue. It was something that Kim and I were so afraid to leave. We just were afraid to take that step and move on and do our thing. So anyway, so Kim stayed a couple more months, and then Paula, she canceled the European tour because her boyfriend couldn't go. And so that was it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I quit. Okay. And voila. We had already been practicing, me, Kim, and Ronnie. Ronnie was Kim's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And then we had our friend Dave Nasworthy played drums with us a few times, and he'd fill in before we got our drummer. We wanted Roy, and Roy was unavailable. So we had tried out a few people, but Roy had recommended Chris. And that's how they had worked together at the warehouse. And that's how Chris got in the band. And then we started rehearsing, and Paula was at our first show. Paula and Sherry were there. I don't know how serious she took it, but in the end, it turned out horribly for her. But we all ended on a good place with her. Both Kim and I did. We had not been seeing her as much. We had become really busy with the Muffs. But when Paula died, she had just called me a few weeks before she died and had told me how proud of me she was. And
that's good.
That is great.
It was good. She's like my family. It was devastating. Horrible thing. She died on my birthday.
Oh man.
Yeah, and she was. My birthday will never be the same. Right. And she was so young.
Yeah. your first show with the Muffs, live show. Where was it, and how many people were in the audience that night? Do you remember?
Okay, it was at the Shamrock, and I'm gonna say it was probably sold out. It was kind of like a big hype, and I remember Jeff McDonald. He told me, he's like, you got to play my guitar. You got to play my Carvin guitar. So I was playing his yellow Carvin, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. It was great. It was like unbelievable. Here we were finally doing what we wanted to do and playing like amazing songs, Kim's amazing songs. It was fun. It was great.
All right. Did she have that yell down even at that first show?
She did. So do you know where that comes from?
No, please.
No.
So Paula was definitely an influence on Kim. And Paula had the most awesome yell ever.
Right.
Yeah. And all of that. That was like Paula's signature scream. So Kim, was influenced, but she learned a lot from her.
Makes sense.
It's not the same scream, but Kim would be the first to tell you that she was definitely influenced by Paula, and by that, Kim had her own signature yell for sure. Right. But that's really, I think, what influenced her in that.
Yeah. You had Chris in the band for a while as the drummer, and
yes.
I just listened to an interview with Ronnie yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I don't know, Ronnie he's a great guy, and I don't think he wants to talk bad about anybody, or if he does, he really skates around it. But I got the feeling that Chris didn't leave on the best of terms.
Well, I always ended up staying friends with Chris through all the years. Mm-hmm. And before Kim passed away, she also wanted Chris and his wife to know that she was ill, and I spoke to them, and they knew. They were very saddened by it, and oddly, you bring him up, and he was just commenting on something last year. It was his birthday yesterday, and last year Kim wanted me to post a bunch of birthday wishes for her. She was unable to do it on social media. He was wild. Talk about wild. When he left, that was it was time for him to leave. He was ready to leave, and everybody else was. It was the right thing at the right time.
Right.
Is what I'm going to say. I always got along with Chris. He was an interesting person. I haven't quite ever met anybody like him. I think he's extremely talented. He was a great drummer. He had great backing vocals.
Right.
We had some really fun times. But it's like it wasn't the right thing anymore.
Right.
And he didn't want to be in the band anymore, and it was, I think the feeling was pretty mutual.
Right. Now, after that first Muffs album comes out, you guys went on tour, didn't you?
We did, yes. Well, we had done like a lot of, like when we first started the band, we did a bunch of tours, or we did like a bunch of singles, and we did West Coast tour. We got going, to Warner Brothers, all that. Did that, and then we went on tour with the Goo Goo Dolls.
Wow.
Chris did that tour. That was a big tour, and then Chris left, and so then Jim Laspisa came into the band. The next tour was with the Digits, and we did. I think it was another U.S. tour with the Digits, and then we did a European tour. So Jim Laspisa did both of those.
Okay.
And then Roy was available and wanted to be in the band. So Roy came into the band, And probably some people think like me and Roy didn't play together in the band. We did for like 7 or 8 months. And so yeah, so then Roy joined, and then we started working on the second album. And I know what's your next question?
I'll let Jim ask.
So what happened? I guess is the question.
Answer. Okay, so we did all this touring, tons of preparing for the second album, and we had done another tour right before I left, and I left. I believe it was the night before or 2 days before we were going into the studio to record the second album. So,
all right.
I was your album. I know those songs. I have all the pre-production tapes. I have all the DAT tapes. I have everything. It wasn't necessarily my choice. I wouldn't have picked to leave the band.
Oh.
Keep going. Keep going.
I'm not going to say much more.
Okay.
I'm going to just say it's an unfortunate thing that happened. It wasn't what I wanted to have happen.
Right.
I have integrity, and it was a very sad thing. And I know everybody feels, all years later, everybody feels very remorseful for what had happened.
Right.
And I was very hurt by it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did leave, but I had to leave. But I did leave.
Now,
And
you guys didn't talk for quite a long time.
No.
When 16 years or whatever goes by, what is it like, when you run into somebody again after all that time?
It's there was a lot of weird stuff that happened. So what I chose to do was, I think of myself as a pretty positive person, and I try to just roll with situations. And I try, even though it was like probably one of the most saddest things that ever happened to me in my life. I moved on,
right,
and I did my own thing, and I found my own scene of people. I started playing in the Leaving Trains and recorded albums with them, and I just kind of didn't listen anymore to things maybe that were said or.
Right.
I think through the whole thing, looking back at it, and me and Kim, to through the whole end of everything with her, it's so horrible that all of that happened.
Right.
It shouldn't have happened.
Right.
We both, it's like something between her and I, and it shouldn't have happened. And it's so sad that we wasted that much of our lives.
Right.
It should have never ever happened.
Right.
And so yeah, we didn't talk. Well, we didn't see each other face to face for 17 years.
Wow.
And this was, and that was my best friend, my sister, my family, my everything.
Right.
Now I Roy McDonald longer, and I didn't talk to him or Ronnie in that amount of time either. I would run into Ronnie once in a while, and he had been a roommate at my house too for a while when that had happened. But I saw him. We didn't really talk. It was awkward. But Roy, I don't think I had seen him either. And it's like you couldn't just let those things go. It's sad. It shouldn't have been that way.
Right.
But I had to move on, and she moved on with her life, and she did her thing. And I know that she had regrets. Right. And what ended up happening was we were on MySpace, And I look funny, like,
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago.
yeah, I know, right? And the bass player that Karen and I had played with, the piano, was selling stuff, Pandoras stuff, on the internet, making a profit off of it. It was weird, and doing all this like stuff with the band. It was kind of odd. We got to talking, and she started claiming all the stuff that she had played on Stop Pretending, and we're like, "You did not play on Stop Pretending. Kim played on Stop Pretending. It's Kim. Hello, we were there."
Right.
And Bill Inglot, the producer, he came on. He's like, who's Kim? I recorded her. I never know you. It was a weird thing. So we got connected that way. 2009, and I was sticking up for her. Like we kind of had this dispute going on online on my face thing. It was weird. I look at things like things happen for a reason that shouldn't happen. I don't want that to happen to anybody. Right. When you have something so special, I mean, it's the most incredible, special thing I've ever had in my entire life. Over any relationship with a guy or anything, it's this friendship, and I don't think everybody gets to have a best friend like that. And her and I, we felt that way about each other. Like, you can ask Roy or Wani, it's the same thing. It's like Roy was just like, Kim, when you weren't there anymore, Kim, it wasn't the same. She missed you. She, it's like her supposed to be together. We were like this duo, this team, and feed off of each other.
Yeah, reconciliation is wonderful.
Yeah, no, if anything ever bother you, please, it's friends are more important. Friends than the people that love you.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
You had spoken about being in the Leaving Trains, and you'd recorded with them, and that was kind of a punk outfit. Were you playing guitar with them?
Yes. So I obviously I played guitar in the Muffs, and then Leaving Trains, I played guitar, wrote songs with Falling James. We toured a bunch. We put out, I think I was on 2 or 3 albums. I played with them for a long time too. Right.
What is it when you're with a different band? Is it just a whole nother vibe because you're with a bunch of different people? But did you play any of the same places that you played with either the Pandoras or the Muffs, and get that, I've been here, the deja vu. I've been here before.
Some places for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some different places in some places, yeah.
And I'm sure there's some like, not this shithole again, but here we go. But that happens. And of course, we got to talk about the Coolies.
Yeah.
Now, Jim, I know he bought the which did you get, the green one or the red one?
I got the green one.
Green. I bought the green one and the red one because ALS is just want support that cause as much as possible. And
thank you. We appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Well,
well, I'm such a fan. I mean, the minute I saw it available, I was on it, and but had no idea. I had no idea Kim was sick.
No, we didn't know at that time.
No, it was her secret. Mm-hmm. To the role. She only the closest people knew. A little more into it, a little more people knew, but she wanted to keep it secret. She would, every once in a while, tell me to put out a little clue of something maybe I would post to see if people would notice. Right. And every once in a while, somebody would notice something, and then she'd go, ooh, they're smart. But for the most part, people didn't catch on to it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to record that EP? Because I mean, she was already unwell at the time, but how difficult was that for her, and what was that like?
That was great. So I will tell you that doing this album, and obviously, she did her Muffs album as well, and I played on a song on that too. It was the greatest thing for her. She loved it. She was sick for about 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And her disease was incredibly aggressive. And from the time she was diagnosed to when she couldn't speak, it was about 8 months later. And
Wow.
it started with her hand, and it would move on to the next thing to where she was paralyzed. I hung out with her all the time. I was pretty much there like every day with her, and we have sleepovers, all kinds of things. We would make all these plans. We just do incredible things. We prank call people. We just, funny stuff, just funny stuff. But she had said, so we would have, I would call up Palmyra, our friend Palmyra, that we love to death. Since 1986, we met her when we were in the Pandoras. And so we have speaker calls, and it'd be like Melanie and Kim's Friday night sleepover. I'm like, all right, speaker call with Palmyra, and I call her on the phone, and there she is. And her husband would come home and go, oh my God, that's Palmyra, because she's a DJ on Underground Garage, right. And it's like there's her voice, like in my house, after
yeah.
Here's her on the and stuff. But so Kim had said, she's like, I wish I wasn't sick. I wish the three of us could have a band. Because at that time, I started playing in Palmyra's solo band when she would tour the West Coast. And Kim completely supported that. She's like, you have to play with Palmyra. I love this. So I started playing with Palmyra.
It's 7 o'clock.
So then Kim said that, and Palmyra is like, well, you know what? What's stopping us? Why can't we have a band? Why can't we do this? And oh my God, Kim just lit up. It was just like the joy. It gave her like this incredible sense and project in being. She loved me, and she loved Palmyra. And so we just started scheming like immediately. We decided, you know what? Let's ask little Steven if he'll put it out on Wicked Cool Records. Right. And so we said, you know what? Let's do this and do it so it benefits ALS, like 100%. Everybody forfeits any kind of, 100%. It's going to go to them. And we asked little Steven, and we of course told him, she was ill, and he immediately just was like, I will do whatever you want. Wow. Absolutely. Do this. He was a fan of Kim, myself, and Palmyra, of our bands. Just a wonderful person, and every single person at Wicked Cool Records, incredible. Just supportive, generous, and it brought so much joy to her, me and Palmyra. And so, it started with that, and then we said, well, what are we going to do? So first we said, let's do a single. And so Kim and I, we had a lot of time we spent together, so we would listen to a lot of music. We're like, okay, so let's figure this out. And so she started going through old demos, and I heard this song. And I'm like, wow, I have never heard, what is this song? And she has this big smile on her face. And at this time, I don't think she could talk, or she's just not, it was, her speech was almost gone at this point. Right. And, but anyways, she plays me the song, and it turns out it was this demo that she had written for a TV commercial, and they didn't like it. She had written it some years previously, and I'm like, this is such a, it was and I'm like, this song is
catchy.
So it's so great. It's okay, we're gonna do that. That's gonna be the first song. And so she's all happy and smiling, and we're like, okay, now we need to figure out second song, because we're gonna have a single. And so me, Palmyra, and her had the song, and then Palmyra took the song. We each took it. And so Palmyra, being on the East Coast, we added to the demo. It's not what's on the actual recording, but we decided, you know what, let's just mess with this and see what we can do. So Palmyra added herself onto it, playing guitar and doing some backing vocals, and then I added myself onto it, playing fuzz guitar. Yeah. And we had, when Palmyra did her solo band here on the West Coast, we didn't tell anybody that was going to be our future Coolies song. We played in Palmyra's band, and we had them. And then later on, Clem Burke also played with us, and he played it, and Kim was thrilled. Kim was so thrilled that Clem Burke was playing Uh-Oh.
Of course.
Absolutely. So that's where Uh-Oh came from. And so then we said, okay, we need to start finding songs. So the single, then we had this song called Yeah, I Don't Know. And what it was it was just like a voice memo on her iPhone. And it was just her strumming guitar, kind of singing and humming, not so much in key and stuff. And so Palmyra took it, did the same thing, added guitar to it. And we just did these in demo forms at first. And then I decided I was going to play bass on it. And I had never recorded bass before or whatever. And we all played different instruments on it. And then we said, well, you know what? Why don't we make this into an EP? So it went from a single to a 4-song EP into a 6-song EP. Then when we made it into a 4-song one, we decided to write a song. So I wrote a song with Kim, and Palmyra wrote a song with Kim. So me and Kim wrote Ignoramus, and then Palmyra and Kim wrote Blueberry Crumble. And then Kim pulled up 2 more songs, and she said, Glad I Met You, and
you gotta grab it and look at it.
I know. I'm not thinking of it off the top of my head.
But I should know. I know. Pathetica.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Beautiful song. So, anyways, that's where this all came from. So our goal at this point then was, Wicked Cool. They're like, let's just record. So I recorded all my parts here on the West Coast. Palmyra recorded all of hers at Renegade Studios with Jeff Sienoff. And little Steven played theremin on Blueberry Crumble, which we're real thrilled about. There's a video of him doing it, and Kim was just tickled beyond belief. And basically we would just think, what do we need to add? They were based on Kim's demos. Obviously, 2 of the songs we had to do, and completely from scratch, but 4 of them were based off of her demos, and just start putting what we felt fit and instruments that we felt worked. And then between the 3 of us, we would say yes or no, like, maybe try this, or this is great, things like that. And that's really how we did it all. And then, so we added all Kim's parts, all her stuff. She played guitar, she played bass on a few, and she sang harmonica. And so then Palmyra played guitar, sang, and did some backing vocals. And then I played bass, guitar, and keyboards and backing vocals.
And then, as far as the cover itself, who came up with the cartoon Archie's-like characters?
Isn't it? It's like amazing. I love it so much.
It is.
Louis.
Yes.
And Louis is up for an award for that. We got nominated for 3 awards for the Independent Music Awards. And I think they take place in June. And
there it is.
There it is. Yay! Thank you. Yeah. So Louis is so great. It was just, when we saw that, and Kim's like, oh my God, it looks just like me.
Yeah.
She's like,
yes.
We had to okay them, when he was doing it. I had a couple tweets from him because I thought I looked a little too Veronica-ish. I'm like, but then it was perfect. I'm like, yes, but like Kim was like, I'm perfect. I look great. But it was Louis and Palmyra. Like Louis's like, how about Archie's? And Palmyra like said that. God, that would like be amazing. And so that's like the whole idea. And then we decided that we were going to have these names, you know, Kimba, Malimba, because Kim was already Kimba and Palimba.
Right.
And so we had all the songs recorded. We had the art. We had all this. They had a date. We had interviews starting. Bam. And Kim was thrilled. Oh my God. She wrote those interviews with her eyes. I would sit next to her. I would read her the questions, and she would answer and spell it all out for me.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone that interviewed us, just that Kim did all that. And you know, I'm going to keep saying this. It made everything for her. It kept her busy. We'd wake up in the morning. She goes, let's get to work. When are we going to work? And she was busy. She was just so thrilled. She's like, we're Coolies. We're like right before she died, she was sitting in her chair like a couple of days before, and we're watching movies, and she's like, we're two Coolies hanging out. This project meant everything in the world to her and us. It was just such an incredible thing that we were able to pull it off, and people didn't know she was sick. And when it came out, we had the coolest song in the world, and just so much support. We raised, as far as vinyl sales, over $15,000, and then that doesn't even include the digital sales yet. And like digital will always, continue on. As far as the vinyl, that was 3 pressings, and and here's the coolest thing is Kim made it possible for us to have more future Coolies.
All right.
So
it's good to know.
That is good to know.
We'll be putting out future Coolies, and Kim knew that. Kim, the 3 of us had it all planned. Kim had it planned. Single, other songs. It definitely needs work. There's not complete things. It's going to take a lot of work. We have to create around everything, but we have a lot of stuff, and it will be the same thing. It will go towards ale and all that. Yeah, absolutely. And Louis will do the cover.
Yeah, we actually featured that album in an early episode, or featured the EP anyway. It was one of our weekly picks, and
he wore his glasses when he did it.
Yeah, I did wear the 3D glasses while we were talking about it.
Yeah, that's fantastic to know that there's more music
absolutely
on the horizon, and we definitely look forward to that.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we're thrilled Kim would be. She would, she knew.
We're also bummed because of the current situation that the celebration of Kim's life show got postponed. And again, talking to Ronnie, he said everybody's on board to eventually get it together when we're back to whatever normal might be. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that right now right now, Golden Voice, they have to wait for the okay for like actual dates, like legally when we're able to pick. We had an idea of the date that we were going to go for, but it's probably not possible at the moment. So as soon as we know when that is, then we'll make that available to everybody. But yeah, it's going to be all the same bands, all the same everything. And it was super, super disappointing, but, and there were so many wonderful surprises too that will blow people's minds. Yeah. Cool things. You guys would be surprised.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask you, it's scheduled to be at the El Rey Theater. What's the capacity there? Do you know?
Yes, because I am the co-organizer of this entire show with Hillary Burton. The capacity, I believe, is 800-ish. We'll say.
Okay, sold out.
I know,
I know how sold. It was sold. I know all the numbers. I'm not going to give all the numbers, but you know, and I can't do the exact. I don't know the exact numbers of the capacity, but you know, there's a lot more that goes into it than the actual numbers sold. There's comp tickets. There's you know, like for family like that. There's a lot of other numbers, but it was sold out.
Well, that was my question. Is looking at it now, looking back, do you think that's a big enough venue when you see the demand when you look online of how many people say, wow, it was sold out, I didn't get tickets in time, or they lollygagged and didn't get them, and you wonder how many more or how big of a place would, because Kim was quite a name here in the Los Angeles area, much less everywhere, but there's a possibility of, you know, a whole lot more people.
Go bigger.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think we're very happy with the El Rey. It's they're wonderful. Golden Voice has been wonderful. So every single person involved in this that has like given, you know, their time, donated like so much. So, you know, every single band doing this and people contributing, you know, like Shepherd Ferry with the poster, and it goes on and on and on. Everybody, like I said, Golden Voice and our production manager Chris, and everybody. It's great. I think it's a perfect venue.
Okay.
I do. I feel I'm very happy with it. It feels right. It feels the perfect size.
Right. I
That's have to happen now.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely looking forward to it, and we'll see what the future holds when we can get out there.
Yay!
Yeah.
I know. It's been crazy, hasn't it? It's like,
yeah.
I'm like done with this. It's like I want to go out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where I'm sick of coffee at my house.
It has been different, that's for sure. And, you know, there's other places, you know, Florida and Texas, they're opening up, and I don't know if it's going to work out or not. So, you know, I don't know. Even our beaches, we opened our beaches. I think they close them fast as they open them right now. So we'll see. It's just scary times.
I know. See, I feel like the few times I've been out recently to the supermarket, I feel people are getting a little too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they're wearing masks, but they're a little too close.
Yeah. And I don't know, like I say, what the future holds with that, because I kind of like the social distancing myself. Anyways, I was practicing that before all this happened. So
yeah,
you know.
So. You've been doing that for decades, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was born for this.
No, truly though. I mean, I was in Venice the other day for work, and I saw a group of people outside a shop, and I mean, nobody's wearing masks, and they're all just kind of in a big group there, you know, just yakking it up. And I thought, like, I think you guys are kind of missing the point.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like I've tried so hard. I bought you know, these goofy looking masks. I wear them, and I've done everything, you know, the way I'm supposed to do it. And then, yeah, you know, and it you know, everywhere. I know a lot of people that have gotten it, that have, you know, gotten through this and survived it. And Palmyra has a number of people that have died from it, you know. It's devastating. And, you know, she lives on the East Coast, and it's been so bad there. It's horrible.
Well, maybe certainly be glad when we get over the hump at least, and get some kind of normalcy again.
Yeah.
Hey, we do a thing on our show called What Floats Your Boat, Melanie. And what it is we ask our guests or people to send us a video of what music they're listening to at the moment, of what floats their boat, what band is giving them a rise, you know. So can you tell us on this particular day or week or month what's floating your boat?
I listen to a lot of different kind of music. I like power pop stuff. I like rockabilly stuff. I like some country stuff. I love Big Star. I love Joe Tex. I mean, it goes on. I could like pull up my phone and like look at my, my iTunes at the moment. I think I was listening to the Zombies. I was listening to.
There you go.
Of course, Fountains of Wayne. I've listened to so much Fountains of Wayne, and he died like devastating.
Yeah. Right.
Elvis Presley, Gene Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and lots of like R&B stuff, and I like lounge stuff. I mean, the funny thing is I have a wide variety, but I'm picky. So
Right.
I'm super picky.
Well,
fair enough.
Shoes, like I could listen to them all the time. I'm trying to think of some things that I've posted recently.
do you listen to your own music?
My kids would probably say yes. Not all the time.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, like, I always have like a shuffle on my iTunes, and so I listen to it for the most part, but sometimes I'll like go through it. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm sure, why not?
Yeah.
And why not? Paula was a great songwriter. Kim was a great songwriter. They're great songs. They hold up.
Oh yeah, no, it's and it makes me proud. Everything, I'm proud of like all the music that I've been involved in, the people that I've been involved with doing it. I mean, I feel so fortunate that I've been able to do that with all these people and it exists. So
that's great. Well, Jim, you have anything else to wrap this up?
Well, just thank you, Melanie, for joining us. Amazing story, because I can't imagine what it would be like to going right out of high school to recording and being in a touring band just straight away, And I was just watching the clip of you guys from Arsenio Hall the other.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
The camera would pan over to you, and of course I'm watching because you're going to be on the show, and but just how amazing you look on stage. You have just such a great stage presence, and you just would move seamlessly from the keyboard, to the tambourine and back, and you're singing, and you're a great dancer. Which it's weird that so many musicians cannot dance. I fall into that category, but you look great on stage.
Oh, thank you. The thing is, like, I think I can't dance, but I love playing. I love doing that. Oh my God, it just feels right to me. That's me. I feel like when I get to do that, the most recent stuff, like I told you, that I have done tour with Josie Cotton and playing keyboards for her.
Wow.
Amazing. Oh my God. And I love it. And it's just like, I love rocking out. I love it. It just makes me want to play and move, and it just feels good.
Well, I think that's kind of what comes through, is that when you see, pictures of you and Kim on stage, or you playing and whatever, is you always look just so extremely happy to be there and doing it.
I am. And you know what? No, me and Kim, always happy, playing together, rocking out with each other. It's the greatest feeling in the entire world. I can't even tell you, looking at her and her and I doing that, or just all through the end of while she was sick, and us looking at pictures and watching old videos of us and our stories of each other and everything, it just, we are, BFF, musical soulmates forever and ever.
All right. I have to ask one question about Arsenio Hall. Who was in charge of the smoke bomb or the dry ice, and were they fired immediately?
You couldn't see anybody for the first maybe 30 seconds of the song.
Ridiculous.
It was funny.
Yeah.
And the sound sucks too. It's so embarrassing because all you can hear is my keyboard. It's like, hello, we don't need that. But and Paula's hair hair is like little Bo Peep or something here. Pretty ridiculous. I do not know, but I remember. You spoke of White Flag. Bill Bartell was there. He was in the audience, which is kind of, and he was cracking up. I don't know. It was horrible. It was
Yes, it
so
was.
it was so funny. It was just, I'm so glad that exists though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I
Yep.
mean, in a sense, it's really great, but for the first 30 seconds, it's just kind of, you just see smoke and you can hear you guys playing. And I remember thinking, like, I wonder how they even saw what they were playing. Like, Sherry was back there. I was like, I wonder if she could even see the drums.
Hilarious. Totally hilarious. So funny. So funny.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you for having me.
yeah, we appreciate your time. Like I said, we had Ronnie on a couple weeks ago, and
Watched it.
oh, did you? Okay, well, he's going to come back because we omitted a few things from Kiss that he made sure I knew about, and then we're going to have him on also for another Muff show to get his take on everything because he's a great storyteller too.
Oh yeah, no, he's funny. He's for
Yeah.
sure funny.
Yeah, but we really appreciate having you on the show tonight.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up. Jim, if there's nothing else, what do you say?
The shop is closed.